Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we've got not just one but two powerful open-source video generators that are turning heads in the AI community. We're diving into Genmo's Mach-E 1 and Rhymes Allegro, both fresh releases that are raising the bar for free and open-source video generation. In this video, I'm putting them through their paces with some challenging prompts to see how they really stack up. And we're not just comparing them to each other. I'll be pitting them against some of the top proprietary models out there, including Kling and Minimax. So, if you're curious about the next level of AI video generation or looking to see how these open-source options measure up, stick around. First up, let's dive into Mach-E 1 from Genmo, which might just be the best quality open-source video generator to date. Let's get started. We have not one, but two free and open-source video generators that just came out. Genmo's Mach-E 1 and Rhymes Allegro. And these look really good, much better than what we've had before. So in this video, I'm going to do a full review of these two generators. I'm going to test them with a series of very tricky prompts and see how they compare with the leading proprietary models out there, Kling and Minimax, so you can get a sense of how good these models are. Let's jump right in. So first up, let's talk about Genmo's Mach-E 1. This is currently the best quality open-source video generator out there right now. I mean, just look at the details and realism with the videos in their demo reel. This is pretty insane. But don't just take my word for it. I'm actually going to test this out and show you some generations so you can decide for yourself. Anyways, here are just some quick specs. For now, it can generate videos at a resolution of 480p with plans for higher resolutions in the future. And unlike other video generators, they use a new architecture called asymmetric diffusion transformers to generate the video. Now to use this, they have a website for you to try it out for free. So I'll link to this page in the description below. All you have to do is sign up for a free account, and then type in a prompt here, and then click Generate. You can also download this and run it locally on your computer. So they've released the full model weights on their GitHub, and best of all, this is under the Apache 2 license, which has very few restrictions. So you're free to use and modify this and even use it for commercial purposes. More on this GitHub page and local installation in a second. By the way, just in, this leaderboard from Artificial Analysis, which is an independent evaluator, has just been released. So this is basically an arena where users can blind test different AI video models. So there's two videos side by side generated from the same prompt and the user has to select which one they prefer. And, after a lot of different selections from different users, here are the rankings. So, surprisingly, Genmo's Mach-E 1 actually beats some of the leading proprietary models, such as Runway Gen 3 and Kling 1.0. In fact, the only thing that beats Mach-E 1 as of now is Minimax. Now, note that Kling 1.5 isn't on here yet. I think, once they do add it, it's gonna be in the top 3 spots. But, just having an open-source model that even beats Runway Gen 3 is pretty amazing. The second free and open-source generator that was also released recently is called Allegro by Rhymes AI. This can currently create 6-second videos at 15 frames per second at 720p resolution. Currently, it can only do text to video, but they are planning to add image to video as well as the option to generate longer videos. So really quickly, here are just some of their demo examples, but, again, I'm also going to demo this myself with a series of really tricky prompts so you can see what it can and cannot do. Alright. So for Allegro, in order to use it online, you do need to join the waitlist. So you just have to fill out this form. And at least for me, it only took them, like, 2 days to reply back and give me access, but it could be different for you. Or like Mach-E 1, they also have released the model weights and code on GitHub, so you can go ahead and install this and run it locally on your computer. This is also under the Apache 2 license, so you're free to use and modify it and even use it for commercial purposes. More on this local installation in a second. But right now, let's jump in and test these two models and also compare it with the leading closed-source video generators out there, Kling and Minimax. Alright. So right now, I am in Genmo's playground. This is testing Mach-E 1, and the first prompt I'm going to try out is an astronaut riding a unicorn in the desert. Let's click generate and see what that gives us. Alright. So here's our generation. Let me play this for you. So as you can see, it's okay. The astronaut does look very realistic. Both his helmet and his suit look super realistic, so does the desert in the background. We can't really see the unicorn, though it does look like a unicorn. I mean, there is a horn on the horse's head. The horse isn't like walking anywhere. It's not really moving. This is just like a slow zoom in motion, but that's partially my fault. I didn't specify for the horse to actually move or walk around in the prompt. So, I mean, overall, this is not a bad generation. Alright. And then I'm also going to use the same prompt for Allegro. So again, you need to apply to their waitlist, but once you're in on their Discord, there's gonna be this Allegro generate channel. And down here, how you generate a video is you type in /generate, and then let's select this, and then you would enter in your prompt. So I'm gonna do the same thing, an astronaut riding a unicorn in the desert, and then press enter. Alright. And here's what we got from Allegro. So you can see this is not great. This is not a unicorn. I don't know if is that a horn or his other ear? Anyways, the horse also isn't walking at all. The astronaut also isn't moving. This is not a very fluid video at all. It seems like the astronaut and the horse are frozen, but they're kind of sliding through this desert. And, for your comparison, here's the same prompt with proprietary models Kling and Minimax. So it seems like, in terms of realism, detail, and motion, the proprietary models are still a step ahead. You can see, for both Minimax and Kling, everything is just a lot more detailed, a lot sharper, plus it's just a lot more fluid. Alright. The next prompt I'm gonna try out is even trickier. So this is a group of Pomeranian puppies learning to become chefs. This is tricky because it's not just one puppy, but a group of puppies, so it's harder for AI video generators to generate multiple moving characters in a video. And then it's not just any puppy, I'm testing if it can generate Pomeranians, plus they are learning to become chefs, which doesn't happen in reality. So we're testing if it can actually understand two very different ideas and merge them together. Let's click generate and see what that gives us. Alright. So here's what we got from Genmo. This is actually very impressive. I did specify a group of puppies. This is only 2 puppies, so I guess it's still a group. And the Pomeranian puppies look very real and detailed, and they are kind of learning to become chefs. One has a chef hat. One is kinda smelling this bowl of flour here. I mean, overall, this is pretty impressive. Everything looks fairly consistent. And then I'm going to type in the same prompt for Allegro, so /generate, and then I'm gonna paste in the prompt here. And let's see what that gives us. Alright. So here's what we got from Allegro. This is a group of Pomeranian puppies, kind of, but they're not learning to become chefs. They're just standing there and the camera is panning to the left. So it definitely did not understand or follow my prompt. However, we can see that it can generate more than one puppy with a decent amount of detail, whereas older open source video generators couldn't even pull this off. And then for your comparison, here are all 4 video generators side by side. So, again, you can see with the proprietary models, Kling and Minimax, they are just a bit better. The puppies look a lot sharper, a lot more detailed, and they move a lot more naturally. And these are definitely Pomeranian puppies learning to become chefs. Whereas, for the open source model, I would say Genmo is definitely better than Allegro, and it's already impressive that it can generate these 2 puppies kind of learning to become chefs. But, I mean, at least compared to the bottom 2 videos, it's not quite there yet. Alright. Time for your favorite prompt. So next, I'm gonna prompt it with Will Smith eating spaghetti. Let's see if we can pull this off. And here's what we get from Genmo, and this is indeed Will Smith. Very, very impressive. Note that this is not image to video. I did not generate an image of Will Smith beforehand. Genmo Asmachi seems to understand who is Will Smith and actually generate a decent video of him eating spaghetti. Now he did kind of just throw the fork down halfway and not eat the spaghetti. I'm sure Will Smith is just completely sick of eating spaghetti by now. Alright. Next, I'm going to use the same prompt in Allegro and see if it can pull this off. And here's what I got from Allegro. You can see this seems to be just some generic black guy. I mean, who knows? Maybe somewhere in the world, there is a Will Smith who looks like this. And he is kind of eating the spaghetti, but not really. I don't really know what he's doing with this bowl of spaghetti here. And then for your reference, here is also the generations from Kling and Minimax with the same prompt. Kling by itself cannot generate Will Smith. However, Kling does have an image-to-video feature, so you could upload a video of Will Smith eating spaghetti first to use as your first frame. And same thing with Allegro. Currently, it does not have image-to-video, but they are implementing this feature. But it's really impressive how Genmo's Maki and Minimax are able to know off the bat what Will Smith looks like. Alright. The next prompt I'm gonna try out is time-lapse of the northern lights in the Arctic sky. This is also kind of a tricky prompt because I'm testing if it can generate a time-lapse video, which is very different from other types of video. Plus, in reality, how this should show up is the stars should move way slower than the northern lights in this time-lapse video. So let's see if Genmo can pull it off. Alright. Here's what I got from Genmo, and this is perfect. This is indeed how northern lights move in a time-lapse, and you can see the stars move at a much slower rate. In fact, they don't really move that much. They just pan slightly to the left in the video. But, yeah, I think this is a perfect generation. It's really impressive how far open source video has improved. Alright. Next, I'm also going to paste in the same prompt here. So generates, and then I'm gonna paste in time-lapse of the northern lights in the Arctic sky and see what that gives us. Alright. Here's what we got from Allegro. And this is also perfect. This is really good. Like, the northern lights do move at a much faster rate than the stars, and this does look like a time-lapse video. I mean, the stars do move slowly across the sky. Let me know in the comments what you think of the quality of this. And then for your comparison, here are the 4 video models side by side. And in this case, I mean, it's pretty hard to pick a winner here. I mean, all 4 of them could generate a time-lapse of the northern lights in the Arctic sky pretty well. Let me know in the comments which one you prefer. Alright. Next prompt is going to be very tricky. I have not encountered any video generator that can actually pull this off correctly. So the prompt is, a princess wearing a beautiful glittery white dress running away from a massive dragon with glowing red eyes. Disney Pixar animation style. So, again, a very tricky prompt with multiple elements. There has to be a princess. She has to be wearing a beautiful glittery white dress. Plus she has to be running away from a massive dragon with glowing red eyes. And I'm also testing if it can generate this Disney Pixar style video. So let's click generate and see what that gives us. Alright. Here's what we got from Genmo. It's kind of this 3D Disney Pixar animation style, but you can't really see the face of the princess. And I mean, she is far away, and this is quite a low-resolution video, so I guess that is expected. The dragon does look pretty good. I mean, it is a massive dragon with glowing red eyes. It is kind of following this Disney Pixar style. I would say in terms of understanding multiple elements in the prompt, Genmo's Maki 1 does pretty well. However, the princess is not running away from the dragon. She's just standing there, and the camera is just slowly panning. Alright. I'm going to paste in the same prompt in Allegro, and let's see what that gives us. Alright. Here's what we got. This is actually the Disney Pixar animation style I was going for. So it generated the princess very well. And at least she is walking this time. There's a lot more motion compared to the previous videos we've generated with Allegro. However, this creature in the background does have glowing red eyes. It is massive, but it's definitely not a dragon. I don't know what the hell this is. And I mean, this princess is just casually walking. She's not really running away from the dragon, so we gotta take points off for that. However, it is good to see that this can pull off a Disney Pixar style. And then for your reference, here are all 4 video models side by side. And you can see none of them, including the best ones out there, Kling and Minimax, could actually get the princess to run away from this massive dragon. The princess is either running sideways or walking casually. And then, it seems like Minimax is the best one at generating Disney Pixar style videos. So, the princess looks exactly like she came from a Disney movie. And also, you can see from Minimax, this one has the highest motion. In fact, Minimax, I would say, does the best in terms of high action scene. Whereas for the other video generators, it's really slow moving. They can't really handle higher movements. Alright. Next up, I'm going to test out its ability to generate text. So the prompt is the text "subscribe to my channel made of vibrant colorful smoke." So let's press generate for Maki and see what that gives us. Okay. So here's what we got from Genmo, and this is actually pretty good. It didn't get the text correctly, but it's actually making the text out of vibrant colorful smoke, which not a lot of other video generators I've tested could get correct. Now, of course, you can see the text is not correct. I don't think this is usable. But for visual effects like making something out of colorful vibrant smoke, it can definitely pull this off. And here's what we got from Allegro. You can see this is kind of what I've seen with previous video generators. It was really lazy in that it just generated some colorful smoke in the background and it just overlaid some text. The text isn't actually made of vibrant colorful smoke. Plus, of course, it got the text completely wrong. This does not say subscribe to my channel. And then for your comparison, here's the same prompt with Minimax and Kling. For this one, Minimax does pretty well. It's more like a neon sign, but there is, like, colorful vibrant smoke coming out of the words. So I'll give it points for that. And then surprisingly for Kling, which is one of the best generators out there, it could not actually generate the text correctly. Again, it just overlaid some random text on a background of colorful smoke. So I would say none of these 4 video generators are perfect. And note that I'm testing them on a series of very tricky prompts that I would not expect them to get a 100% correct. Alright. Next up, I'm going to test if it can generate anime-style videos. So here's a really simple prompt. The prompt is a girl wearing a kimono walking in the streets of Kyoto, anime style. Let's click generate and see what that gives us. Let me tell you about this awesome tool called ChatLLM by our sponsor, Abakusai. This allows you to use the best AI models out there all in one integrated platform. This includes the latest o1 Preview, o1 Mini, as well as other state-of-the-art models like GPT-4o and Claude Sonnet 3.0.5. Plus, they have a new Route LLM feature which automatically picks the best LLM to use based on your prompt. They also have a Search LLM feature which searches the web to find the latest and most accurate information for you. You can also generate images right from the chatbot, and they're using the best generator out there, Flux Pro. Plus, you can even generate videos with a single prompt. How cool is that? Plus, it has a really cool artifacts feature. So if you're coding or building something with it, it allows you to view and interact with the app side by side. You can also drag and drop PDFs and documents into here for it to analyze. This is great for generating reports and analyzing data easily. They also have a new feature called AI Engineer, which allows you to create your own custom chatbot fine-tuned on your own custom data or instructions. This is just a really powerful and versatile way for you to use the best AI models out there all in one platform. Try it out via the link in the description below. Alright. Here's what we got from Genmo. This is kind of anime style, I guess. And you can see this is a common issue in a lot of video generators, including proprietary video generators where if you have a lot of people in the scene, they are not very consistent. The edges of the people, the limbs, the faces, they warp and shape over time, and it's just clearly AI generated. Now this does look like an anime scene. This is a street in Tokyo, and there is a girl wearing a kimono walking in the middle. So I'll give it points for that. However, the way she walks is really weird. I don't know why the kimono is blowing in the wind like that. I mean, this is just a very weird, uncanny video. And here's what we got from Allegro. This is even more uncanny. So, this is a girl. She is wearing a kimono. She's definitely not walking in the streets of Kyoto. She's just standing there and talking. It is anime style though, so I would give it some points for that. But it definitely is not perfect or usable. And then for your reference, here is the same prompt with Kling and Minimax. Now as you can see, Minimax can also not really generate anime-style videos very well. I would say the best model for this type of anime-style prompt would be Kling. Alright. Next up, the prompt is a woman who is very sad and distressed. Her eyes are red and teary. Her facial expression conveys sadness and emotional pain. This is to really test out if these open source generators could create characters with these intense expressions on their faces. So this is clearly a very sad scene. Let's see if it can generate a really sad woman. Alright. This is what we get. This is just a woman looking out the window. She doesn't look very sad or distressed. Her eyes aren't really red and teary. She is not conveying any sadness or emotional pain. So I would say it's not very good at creating these more extreme expressions. However, if you do generate just a woman looking out the window, then this is a perfect video. And on that note, keep in mind that I'm testing these models on a series of very tricky prompts that I do not expect them to get correctly. I'm sure if you generate a simple video of like a portrait of a man or a woman looking out the window, then all 4 video generators could generate this very well. But in this video, I'm really trying to test out its limits. And oh my god. This is what we got from Allegro. I don't know why she has so much blood on her face. But blood aside, I mean, this does look like a woman who is very sad and distressed. You can't really see her eyes since they are closed. So it kind of ignored the part of my prompt where I specified for it to be red and teary. But, I mean, her expression does convey sadness and emotional pain. So in terms of expressive faces, this, I think Allegro actually does better than Genmo. However, this blood on her face, which I clearly did not specify in the prompt, is kind of disturbing. Anyways, here are all 4 video models side by side. You can see for the proprietary ones, Kling and Minimax, they handle expressions a lot better. You can see for both Kling and Minimax, the woman in the video is very sad. Clearly sadder than the open source models at the top. Alright. Next prompt is even trickier. So this one is a point of view shot of a soldier running through a war-torn city, rifle in hand. The camera moves quickly as explosions occur nearby, throwing up debris. The view dips and swings as the soldier takes cover and fires back at the enemy. Let's click generate and see if Maki can pull this off. Alright. Here's what we got from Maki. You can see it's kind of ignoring most of the prompt. Yes. This is a soldier. This does look like a very realistic war scene, and he does have a rifle in his hand. However, there is no action going on at all. In the prompt, I specified for the camera to move very quickly, and this should be a point of view shot of the soldier, not just a regular portrait shot of this soldier. And there should be explosions occurring nearby. There should be debris flying everywhere. The view should dip and swing as the soldier takes cover, but I'm seeing none of that in this video. So again, for just simple portrait or mid-shot videos of a character standing still with minimal motion, then Genmo handles it perfectly. But as soon as you enter in some higher action scenes, it doesn't seem to be able to pull it off. And then, here's what we got from Allegro. And, you know, in terms of higher action, higher movements, and actually following the prompt, I would say this does better than Genmo. This is a point of view shot of a soldier. He is running through a war-torn city with a rifle in hand. And there are explosions occurring nearby. It's throwing up debris in the air. This is pretty good. It does follow my prompt. However, of course, with such a high action scene for an open source model, there's a lot of hallucinations. The way the soldier runs is not very accurate. There's suddenly another soldier that kind of appears from nowhere. There's also a rifle coming out of his butt. There's just a lot of errors and uncanny stuff going on. And then for your reference, here are the proprietary models, Kling and Minimax, with the same prompt. So you can see both of them handle this prompt a lot better than the open source models. Both of them could handle this high action scene of a soldier running around taking cover, with explosions and debris flying everywhere. So in terms of high action scenes like this one, it seems like the closed source models are still way better. Alright. Next one. Horror film, a swarm of zombies attacking people at a metro station, shaky camera. Let's see if Genmo can pull this off. Alright. Here's what we got. I don't know. This doesn't really look like a metro station. The main character kind of walks out of the scene and then he reappears in the background, which is kind of weird. It seems like those are zombies in the background, so I'll give it a point for that. And this does look like a scene from a horror film. And then, here's what we got from Allegro. I actually like this scene a lot better. This is a metro station and there's clearly a swarm of zombies in the background. They're not really attacking people. It's not really a shaky camera. They're just casually walking around. So I don't know what's going on here, and as soon as you have multiple characters in a scene, you're gonna get a lot of warping and hallucinations, and this applies to the best closed source models out there as well. But overall, for an open source video generator, this scene is not bad. Again, none of the older open source models could pull this off. And then for your reference, here's the same prompt with Kling and Minimax. Even Kling and Minimax do not pull this off perfectly. There's some clear hallucinations, but in terms of handling higher action scenes, again, I would have to give the point to the closed source models. It seems like the open source ones are still a step behind. Alright. Next prompt, this should be fairly easy. So it's a young boy standing in a war-torn environment. His facial expression shows fear and despair. The background is filled with destruction, fire, and debris. So a fairly simple mid-shot or portrait shot of this boy. There's no high action movements in the scene. Let's see if it can pull it off. Alright. Here's what we got from Genmo, and, this is pretty good. Now, I did specify that his facial expression should show fear and despair, which I'm not really seeing here. Let me know in the comments below. Do you think this boy looks scared? But anyways, the background is filled with destruction, fire, and debris. I mean, for these relatively lower motion scenes, you can see how this video could be straight from a movie. And this is open source and free and unlimited. So, pretty soon anyone can just create a film without any actors, without any cameras. They can just create an entire film from a computer in their home. Anyways, here's what we got from Allegro. And you can see this generation is also not bad. So this is a boy standing in a war-torn environment. There is fire and debris in the background and his face kind of shows fear and despair. I don't know about you, but it seems like his head is way too big for his body. Let me know in the comments if you think so as well. But this is actually pretty good. I would say, again, Allegro seems to handle expressions better than Mach-E 1. And then for your reference, here's the same prompt with Kling and Minimax. So with a relatively simple prompt like this with low motion, all four of them actually handle it very well. I would say Genmo's Mach-E 1 is the worst here, because it actually couldn't generate expressions, but Allegro did pretty well. This is up there with Kling and Minimax. Alright. Next, let's test out some higher action destruction scenes. So here we have a colossal sea monster rises from a stormy ocean, its massive tentacles wrapping onto a sinking ship. Let's see what we get from Genmo. Alright. Here's what we get from Genmo. Oh my god. This is a wicked scene. This is so cool. This totally follows my prompt. There is a ship in a stormy ocean, and then suddenly, this massive colossal sea monster with tentacles wrap onto this ship. This is a perfect scene, and I think it even outperforms Kling and Minimax. Alright. Here's what we got from Allegro. It's not a stormy ocean. I don't really see a ship anywhere. It's just a sea monster chilling in the middle of the ocean. So that's a fail. And then here's the same prompt with Kling and Minimax. I would say Kling handles it slightly better. Again, none of them are perfect, but I would say I'm really impressed by Genmo's generation. In terms of prompt following and quality, I would say Genmo's Mach-E 1 is the winner in this case. Alright. The next crazy scene. A massive evil panda looming across the city, destroying buildings, terrified people run away in all directions, high action. Let's see if Mach-E can pull it off. Alright. Here's what we get. This is very impressive. This is indeed a high-action scene. There are terrified people running away in all directions, and there is a massive evil panda. However, the panda kind of, trips and then falls backwards, which is kind of embarrassing. But, I mean, this is super impressive for an open-source video generator. None of the older open-source models even come close to this. And then here's what we got from Allegro. This is a lot slower in motion and, whoa, that's interesting. Somehow, it transitioned to a second scene right in the middle of the video, even though that was not specified in the prompt. And it seems like the people aren't really terrified. They're not running away in all directions. So if I just compare Mach-E with Allegro, I would say Mach-E 1 definitely handles higher action videos a lot better than Allegro. But in terms of, the quality and color and tone of the video, I would say Allegro is a lot better. You can see the humans look a lot sharper, a lot more detailed, same with the buildings in the background. The details look a lot sharper than what we got from Mach-E. And then, for your comparison, here are all 4 video models side by side. I would say Kling is the winner here. I mean, Kling's generation is just very realistic, very high action. This is very impressive. But that being said, Genmo's generation is actually not far off. I really like the high action scene. I really like how there are tons of terrified people running in all directions. This is very impressive for an open source video generator. Alright, final prompt, let's test out Japanese anime again, but it's gonna be a fight scene. And so far, I have not encountered any video generator that could pull this off, including Kling and Minimax. So, the prompt is Japanese anime style, a girl wearing a kimono fighting a demon, epic battle. Let's see what Mach-E gives us. Alright. Here's what we got for Mach-E. This, as you can see, is definitely not an anime style video. This looks very realistic. There is a girl wearing a kimono, and there is a demon in the foreground, but they're not really fighting. And then she's kind of holding a sword, but not really, so everything is just kind of off. This isn't a really usable video, and it's definitely not an epic battle. And then here's what we got from Allegro. Very interesting. You can see there are even subtitles at the bottom of the video, which resemble Chinese, but they're not actually real characters. And at least this woman is pointing a sword at the demon, so extra points for that. If you compare it with all 4 video models, you can see that even Kling and Minimax, they can't actually get the girl to fight the demon. So for this prompt, I can't even pick a winner. I mean, all 4 of these do not really follow the prompt or generate a really good video. So that wraps up my comparison and testing of both Genmo's Mach-E 1 and Rhymes Allegro. I hope that gives you a sense of what it can and cannot do. But I would say both of these are by far the best open-source video generators that you can use right now. Before this, we have Cobb Video and OpenSora, and I mean, they're decent, but I would say a bit behind Mach-E 1 and Allegro. And, the awesome thing about both Mach-E 1 and Allegro is not only can you use them in their online platforms which I showed you in this video, but if you have a good enough GPU, you could actually download this and run it locally for unlimited times for free on your computer. So both of them have released the model weights on GitHub, and this is under the Apache 2 license, which has very few restrictions. You're basically free to use and modify this however you want, plus you can even use this for commercial purposes. So I'll link to their GitHub pages in the description below as well. Note that for the Mach-E 1 GitHub, do not download the original repo, because this one requires at least 4 H100 GPUs to run. I mean, who on earth has 4 H100 GPUs lying in their house? Anyways, fortunately, someone made a much more efficient version, which is actually a node in CompuUI, and this can run in under 20 GB of VRAM. In fact, some people have reported to successfully run this on just 12 GB. So I'll link to this GitHub page as well for you to download. Definitely use this one and not the official one. And then for Rhymes, same thing, they have a GitHub repo. This is under the Apache 2 license, and you can find the installation instructions down here. Now the minimum VRAM requirement for this is around 9.3 GB if you turn on this CPU offload function. If you don't turn this on, then you're gonna need around 27 GB of VRAM. However, this is really slow. I've heard that it takes like 40 minutes to an hour to generate just a 6-second video, so keep that in mind. Anyways, that sums up my review and testing of these two open source video models. Let me know in the comments what you think of all of this. As always, I will be on the lookout for the top AI news and tools to share with you. So if you enjoyed this video, remember to like, share, subscribe, and stay tuned for more content. Also, there's just so much happening in the world of AI every week, I can't possibly cover everything on my YouTube channel. So to really stay up to date with all that's going on in AI, be sure to subscribe to my free weekly newsletter. The link to that will be in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.